everyone. It's Ellie,
And Tara.
and welcome back to another 180 Shift Rundown. And I am currently in my car because the DMV took longer than I expected it to. So, this is just where I am. It's been a hot minute since we've talked, hasn't it been, Tara?
I know so much has happened.
Hmm.
If you saw any of our interviews posted during America Fest, and we also just had, time away with Christmas and New Year's and everything.
Yeah.
But there's been some pretty interesting things in the news lately, like this whole Venezuela thing.
Yes, totally. Venezuela has been incredibly crazy. I remember it was like getting close to the middle of the night, and I get a text on my phone. We're bombing Venezuela, and I was like, "What do you mean? Like, this is we just started the year. Why are we having some craziness happen? So early on?" But um, it I feel like this is just like last year, right? For us, we had the fires that started our year, and now we have this going on with Venezuela. And come to find out when I woke up in the morning, we also stole their president. Well, we kidnapped him, right? Which is crazy. Um, but I mean, the tensions have been boiling for a while, right? It's been simmering with, Trump bombing a few of I think the ships or the things that held drugs and stuff that he said. So this has been a problem for quite a bit now, but now we have this situation going on. I don't know, Tara. I had mixed feelings at it first because I'm not quite sure. You know, there's a lot of people talking about the legality of this, right? Is this legal to go get the president, um, bring him back over here, and on drug charges, right? Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy, and there's so many different opinions about it, honestly. Like
Yeah.
there's people who are like, "Oh my gosh, Maduro was a terrible guy. He was evil. He, put people in jail for no reason, and then they had to like prostitute themselves because they couldn't even afford food, and it was just like all this
Hmm.
craziness that this guy did." And then you have the other side saying basically, you can't kidnap a president that's against international law, like why start wars? And you're prioritizing
Yeah.
oil, all this stuff.
Well, you know
So,
what? A lot of the people, because I did see, within minutes, I got a message that there was going to be a protest. So this was in the middle of the night when it was just barely announced that we were in Venezuela. Was a protest already like sprung up immediately, saying that they were going to protest in LA, to stop bombing Venezuela. Well, obviously they had to change that because a few hours later we found out that um it was just the president, right, being kidnapped. But I just I know that, so it's funny because a lot of the people who were protesting
mhm.
didn't live in Venezuela and probably didn't know anybody from there. And it's funny in the morning when I saw the news, it was so interesting to see how many people were celebrating there. They were just so happy to see that the guy who has haunted them, the dictator, was gone.
Hmm.
So I just thought that was very interesting.
It's
And
definitely crazy. Are you gonna go to any of the
yeah.
protests and get some interviews?
You know what? I really want to. I wanted to do the one that was like the day of, but
Yeah.
I couldn't make that happen. But I would love to if there's any more like opening. I would love to find out um what is the reason
Yeah.
you're protesting when the people there are super
Celebrating.
happy that their dictator is gone. And
Yeah.
I can already tell it's going to be more like the legality of it, and they bombed the thing and people civilians died,
Yeah.
even though our people didn't die. Civilians did die there as a result of, the bombings.
Yeah, and then
So,
there's just a lot of speculation on, why it's happening. Because Rubio leads he's in charge of Venezuela during this time right now. And he spoke after the Venezuelan vice president, whose name is Delcy Rodriguez,
mhm.
and rejected her legitimacy and called for elections recognized by several more nations.
Hmm.
His plan tightens oil sanctions to push reforms, protect reserves from rivals like China and Russia. So, what does that tell us? And supporters praise his anti-communist resolve and yeah, versus the Maduro allies, which seem to be a lot of Americans for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always when they see the bad orange man go do something, they're always gonna say, well, it's bad. You know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like especially I don't know. That always happens with each president, where it's the group of people that no matter what they do, they can't do any right. And you know what? Maybe the large motivating factor for Trump was the oil.
Yeah.
Could be, and probably is, and I think it was just like a two like hitting two birds with one stone.
Yeah. Yeah,
'Cause now
true.
he doesn't have to deal with them anymore.
Right? Oh my goodness. No, there's a I'm looking at just like weird nonsense right now about when you just like go to the trending X page and you hope to see something like kind of wholesome. It's just like, I don't know. I guess there's a trend now that Billie Eilish is just supposed to be this sex icon or something now all of a sudden, which is weird.
Okay,
So
the
that's just
change of
weird.
her is crazy. Okay. Because at first she was the type of person that, hid under all of her clothes, and that was because of, I guess, I don't know if it was like an insecurity or she speaks about it. I remember watching a thing about it, but I don't
Yeah.
quite remember. But she obviously didn't want to like expose herself. And then I saw the switch when she started doing, there's a picture of her, she's in blonde hair and like her pink outfit. I forget from where, but then you see her change. And it was ever since then, I was like, wow, that's a pretty big change for her. And yeah, so I thought that that was very interesting.
Yeah, and I honestly do not understand it personally. I thought she was really onto something with like being more modest,
Hmm.
but it's like I don't know if you remember that Vogue thing, but it felt like she just got so like
Oh yeah, that one.
taken
That
it.
one's the one.
It's like she got taken advantage of there. And so maybe now she's like embracing that aspect of it, like, being
Well, also,
objectified and being like proud of it, which
right.
is crazy
She,
because yeah. At the same time, we're seeing a bunch of OnlyFans stars like repenting from that lifestyle, being baptized and being like, I regret all of it, which
mhm.
is so crazy.
Well,
There was
you
another
know
one
what?
in the
I
news
think
lately.
with Billie Eilish, she was showing that you could still make it in the industry without having to objectify yourself.
Yeah.
And now that that is gone, she's no longer that role model for people who they like. I think like going into the industry, you have the expectation that you have to sell part of yourself, even if you don't want to, right?
Yeah.
And so she was there and she was, I'm sure, a role model for people who wanted to follow in the same path. But, you know,
Well, yeah, and there's like this, constant thing in culture right now. Like, we obviously know about Nala Ray's story. She was on our
Mhm.
podcast, but now there's Lily Phillips, who's like was all about OnlyFans and that kind of lifestyle, and now she's repenting and getting baptized and um yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. Um, another thing that came in on the news, or actually my radar, just a couple hours ago, it was announced, and this is a topic change. But it was announced that the eldest son of President Reagan,
Mhm.
Michael Reagan, has passed. He passed on January 4th. Now, I have met him several times. I've had several conversations with the man, at different places too. I've like met him. He's a really great person. Or yeah, and we talked about everything like his father, just life in general. Um, even romantic relationships. We had that conversation too. But he was just a sweet person. willing to impart any wisdom and continue his legacy. And he definitely embodied his father's like gentle and kind spirit to people who came up
Yeah.
to him. And yeah, so I was very saddened to hear the passing of Michael Reagan. And he was one of the only, in my opinion, children who really took on the flame to continue his father's story, and the legacy that he left behind. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because he's such a great person.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And jumping into one other topic before we're out of time, it's so crazy to hear the up and down waves of Candace Owens in the news and stuff and
Oh
how
my
people
goodness.
respond to her and stuff like that. It's like, yep, I'm bringing this up again. But we have all these conservative leaders who are just outright criticizing her sharply, like Ben Shapiro, uh,
Hmm.
Vivek, how do you say that?
Yeah,
Ramaswamy?
Ramaswamy. It's
Ramasamy.
yeah. Yeah.
Vivek Ramasamy. And it's just crazy. And
No, we just butchered his name. It's fine.
I did.
Vivek. It's fine. Just
Butchered his
Vivek.
name. Vivek. Anyway, and I've heard some people like who used to say like just ignore Candace. Now they're just saying no, she's dangerous. But then you have this other side of people. I feel like a lot of young people and Gen Zers who are like, well, maybe she's not wrong about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know where either of us fall on that spectrum. It's just crazy to see the contrast getting bigger and bigger.
Well, it's like I feel like there's no room to be in the middle. And it was funny because Republicans were supposed to be on the side of like, being able to see through both sides and make logical conclusions that aren't crazy. But I think in when it comes to this situation, you can't acknowledge maybe she is right on some facts and she's wrong on others, right?
Hmm.
And it feels like if you try to take that stance, then you're like, how could you, side with her? The other side's gonna be like, why are you attacking Erica? And it's just like, okay, well,
I know. And it's like, I don't want to do either of those things. On, Colin Wright, he's this conservative on X who posted,
Mhm.
I can no longer ignore this and I hope it will fade away with prominent figures on the right finally speaking out against Candace Owens. I believe
Mhm.
it's necessary to rejoin this chorus of opposition. Like, basically, we're not going to be silent and try to ignore Candace. The
Mhm.
immune response must be strong enough to completely drive out the sickness.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, you know what another thing is that um, Republicans were used to be at least the ones that, everybody would be they would I guess accept the people who were ostracized, by the media and just welcome them. Um, they used to be something that benefited them, but now they're just doing the same thing to people within the party, which is interesting to see how much it's changed, you know?
A friend of mine from church said it really well. She said that the same thing happened after 9/11. Everyone at first was all mourning it, all
Hmm.
together on the same page. And then within a year, everyone had completely separate opinions on everything. Sorry. Everyone just everyone just had completely separate opinions on the entire thing. And now look at where we are, still with 9/11. Like there's people
Yeah, I mean,
completely
mhm.
disagree with it, and there's so many different varying opinions about it.
Yeah, that's so true. I think that that is actually a pretty good comparison. At least that's how it feels like.
Sorry, my dog is freaking out, and the plumber's here, and it's just like all this craziness.
It's okay.
All right, dog, you come get in the podcast. Come here. It's my dog, Jasper.
You could put him as the face of the episode today.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess that's I guess that's pretty much it. I don't know. Did you have any
Anything?
final things?
No, but do you have anything to say about the um hmm, what was it? Amfest, any final words about how that went?
It was very interesting. A lot of infighting. I think I said it all, honestly. It was like, it's just crazy. When the speakers would come up and say something, half the crowd would cheer and half the crowd would boo. And it got to a point where
Wow.
even the pastors were like saying, like, there was one pastor who went up there and he was like, it was Pastor John, and he said, um, the first sin came from a question. So, stop playing innocent and asking questions. And it was just
What?
like, wait, what? Like it was
I
clearly
don't think
against
that's
Candace Owens.
necessarily.
It was like,
I'm pretty sure that's not biblical
yeah,
too.
I'm not even like I'm not like on the Candace Owens side or not. I'm not, I think Erica Kirk is a great person. I think the potential allegations or whatever are false. But at the
Mm,
same time, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Like, why would you put a mic in front of a college if asking questions was bad, you know?
mhm.
And I think Erica and Candace, when they met, that's one thing that Erica said was, it's good to ask questions.
Yeah.
And, because we're seeking the truth. So
Mhm.
anyway, it was weird though. I'm gonna just say that. It was very cool to see everyone. It was very similar to last year as far as the schedule and the layout of the place, but the composure of the participants and the speakers was completely segregated.
Oh, I'm sure. Was there people thrown out? Do you know of any like actual verbal fights that went
Mhm.
on?
There was definitely some fights, and I think we all saw those online, but it, it's so crowded there, 30,000 people that you know,
You can't even hear him.
you didn't really like, yeah. But, that's just me, and I was just running around to the different events and going different places and stuff, so I'm not much of a lingerer, in those spaces. I'm like just talking to certain people and moving forward. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Well, sounded like a very fun event because I did hear the speeches. Obviously Ben Shapiro's one went viral. So that was an interesting one, but yeah, no, it sounded like a fun, like a crazy type of fun.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I brought my kids there, so I was
Hmm.
just kind of in work mode, work/mom mode, but yeah, I think there were people there who had a good time, so that was cool.
That's good. Yeah.
But yeah, no, but I think we have some cool things coming up here, and I'm excited that we're doing more radar rundowns, and yeah. So
Yeah.
go to 180shift.org if you want to learn more about our organization, and thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Okay.